Hello, everyone. Hi, and welcome from your friends here at Hostfully, as well as Lee Mays from Vrbo. We're going to be starting in just a few minutes here. We're just waiting for a few more people to join in. And while we're waiting, I want to point out that we have some polls and questions tabs for you over on the right. So you will see that on the right side of your screen. So please feel free to use those. We love your participation. So join in on those polls, and any questions you have, feel free to ask them during our time here. I'm also getting a poll here. I don't know if it's on my screen, so I'm just going to answer the poll. Two of my colleagues are here today, Felipe and Mitch. They will be helping out and will be able to answer any questions that come in through the chat. I believe, Lee, for any questions that are directed to you, you prefer to wait until the end for a question and answers section, correct?
That would be ideal.
Okay, awesome. So if you have any questions for Lee, feel free to drop them in the chat in the question section, and we will get to those towards the end. Okay. I apologize. My polls keep popping up for me, so I have to keep clicking on those to get my screen over here to work for me. All right. Okay, I think we are ready to start. Let's see here. Okay, so let's begin. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. My name is Alessandra Colandria, and I am a director of business development here at Hostfully, along with my colleagues Felipe DePenter, who is a business development rep, and Mitch Foster, who is our manager of partnerships and integrations. He is on the background. He is hiding as well in the back. And today, again, we are joined by Vrbo Senior Market Development Manager for North America, Lee Mays. So welcome, everyone. We are super excited to discuss how to unlock the secrets of search with Vrbo today. This is a highly anticipated topic. I know personally during my demos and my meetings, we've had a lot of questions from our customers and prospects in the property management space, asking how they can use our software to increase bookings, as well as rank higher and be visible in search with their properties being listed on Vrbo. Some topics that will be discussed today are the difference between search and ranking, important things you should know, ranking metrics, and more. But before we jump into our discussion, I just want to let you know a little bit more about Hostfully for those who are not familiar. We are a vacation rental property management software that helps you run your business tip to tail. We are essentially here to help vacation rental companies and property managers increase revenue, streamline and automate day-to-day operations while also improving the overall guest experience. Hostfully does have two platforms, and these are both completely standalone platforms. We have the property management platform and also the digital guidebook platform. They are both fully integrated, so you can use both of them together, which gives a nice touch when it comes to personalization, or you also have the option to use them separately. So you could just use the property management platform, or you can use the digital guidebooks. On the property management platform side, we have direct integrations with the major OTAs such as Vrbo, Airbnb, and Booking.com, and more. And we are the preferred Preferred Plus and Premier partner with all those three that I just mentioned. We do work as a channel manager for all those OTAs, so Hostfully will be your central software and hub in managing all your reservations. We have a great pipeline feature, which is a really cool and unique to the industry as well. The pipeline is where you can see all your guests and exactly where they are in the process of their booking journey, and basically manage your operations in a different way than the other softwares. We have a really nice out-of-the-box direct booking website as well that's available to all of our users. And we also have included in our software automated messages, both email and SMS. And we also have WhatsApp, reports, analytics, payment processor, you name it, our unified inbox, our newly updated calendar, and a whole lot more to help you run your vacation rental business. And then we have our standalone digital guidebook platform. These are very unique and beautiful. It's basically where you can focus on enhancing the guest experience. We make it easy to share important information to your guests about their trip, like their check-in information, directions, any house manual information, and all your favorite recommendations. Again, this aims in boosting the guest experience. It cuts down on communications, and it also has the ability to get you 5-star reviews. We have a great upselling feature to increase your overall revenue, and we also have an awesome partnership with Viator. We have also been winning awards for our property management platform, which we are super excited about. We won Matt Landau's VRB Keystone Award the first year they had it for the best vacation rental software. We won it again in the year after that as the best property management software to grow with, making us back-to-back winners. And we won the Shorties Award for 2022 for the best property management software. The same goes for our digital guidebooks. Erica is a client of ours and has the same view as many of our other clients. Here, she stated that the guidebook totally blew her away and we saved her a ton of time, and also that the guidebook is more professional than a Word document or PDF. We do have free trials for all subscriptions and one free guidebook for those who like to try. So I always say give it a try and check out our digital guidebooks. Not only do we have an incredible platform and beautiful digital guidebooks, but we also have great learning opportunities and resources with our reports and our webinars. We have a variety of reports available on our website. So if you go to hostfully.com and click on the resources tab, you will find our selection of reports. You will also find future booking reports, multi-channel distribution reports, and other reports that you have great insight that can be useful for your business, which I encourage you all to check out at your leisure directly on our website. We have a ton to offer you there, along with our blog posts and articles. So if you're interested in any additional information on our products, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'll be happy to coordinate and schedule a one-on-one demo with you. The other thing that I want to mention is we also want you to know Hostfully's integration, how Hostfully's integration with Vrbo will benefit you. So Felipe is going to actually put a link right now in the questions tab. So make sure you click on that link. You will find information from today's webinar, and tomorrow we'll upload the webinar video for you to view as a refresher. So make sure you click on that link and save that link so you can go back to it. Okay, Felipe, I think you put it in there for us.
Just did.
Okay, awesome. So that's enough about Hostfully. I'm going to go ahead and hand this off to Lee at Vrbo. We are really excited to share some of our learnings that we've gotten from Vrbo in our partnership during today's webinar. So now I will introduce all of you to Lee, who will spill all the secrets of search for Vrbo. Right, Lee?
That's correct. Thank you, Alessandra. I really appreciate it. Super excited to be here today. And as a Vrbo Market Development Manager, my job is to help people onboard their properties from Hostfully software to our site. So I'll make a pitch for that at the end. But I want to start by telling you a little bit about our partnership with Hostfully. Hostfully is a preferred connectivity partner. Vrbo works with over 80 software partners, and few of them have been able to achieve the status of preferred connectivity. And what that means is Hostfully has invested in the type of connection that makes it easy and efficient and effective for property managers to send us their content. And they provide a great user experience. What's helped them achieve that is their blockbuster growth. You know, the property managers that onboard with us from Hostfully have done very well, and Hostfully has sent us a lot of business, so we're grateful for that. They're aligned with our goals. As Vrbo's platform evolves, Hostfully is right there with us. And, you know, because we share those same goals, that means you, the property manager, get a better connectivity and more features and options that work on both the Hostfully platform and the Vrbo platform. And Hostfully is an early adopter. As a matter of fact, I believe Hostfully right now is piloting our messaging API, which is a huge win for us, and we're excited to roll that out. That will unlock some awesome opportunities for you as property managers. Once we test it out a little bit, it should be available. So let's move on. Let's see. Okay, I think Alessandra just covered this. This is the agenda we'll go through today, and we'll speak on these topics. And let's see here. Whoops. Here we go. So sort order, it's a meritocracy. I've been here for 10 years, and probably the most common question I get from a property manager or a property owner is, how do I rise up in sort order? And sort order and search are kind of interchangeable. Usually people will say search. But if you remember in the old days, Vrbo was a listing directory. You would buy your way to the top with a platinum or a gold or a silver sponsorship. And then once you bought that listing level, you were kind of on your own. And most people that invested in the higher level memberships did a great job of attracting guests and taking care of those guests, but not everybody did. And what happened is it led to a user experience for the traveler that wasn't always great. And so as e-commerce evolved, Vrbo adopted this e-commerce online model where you no longer pay to be on the site. You simply list your content and then you work your way up to the top using, basically offering a great experience and great content. So search and ranking, this is really the crux of the whole presentation right here. And I like to think of search as what the traveler does. So if you think about it, if you've used Vrbo or you talk to the travelers who use it to book your properties, they're going to go onto our site. They're going to choose a location. Where are they going? What dates are available? How many people are they bringing? They may put in some price parameters and then some amenity filters and look for other things that they want to provide the best possible experience for their vacation. They're essentially creating a kind of a proposal for what they want from Vrbo. And then that information will eliminate people or properties that are not fitting that criteria that traveler's looking for. If you're not in their location, you're not going to show up. If you don't have dates available, you won't show up. If you don't accommodate the amount of guests they want to bring, you won't show up. So search is the first thing that starts to eliminate and narrow down for the traveler what they want. And then Vrbo takes that information and looks at what properties do we have that fit that criteria, and we're going to rank it. And there's a ranking algorithm that's going, that's developed by somebody much higher than my pay grade. But basically, it's going to come down to some key concepts. Things like, are you accepting reservations? Is the property, does it have a low cancellation rate? Because, these things are not a great experience for travelers. We're going to push people up that are going to make Vrbo money. And so accepting reservations is a way that we make money. Honoring those and not canceling them is a way we make money. Properties that convert well. When a traveler comes to the property page to look at your property, are they booking it? If you have a high conversion rate, well, then we want to move you up. If you have a great review score, if you're doing a great job and travelers like the experience and they post it, that helps you move up. And what all these four things, and these are just a sample of what's behind that ranking algorithm, but what they all really point to is bookings. You can't have an acceptance rate, a cancellation rate, a conversion rate, or even a review without a booking. So the key is get a booking. And when you get a booking, that starts that perpetual cycle of success for that listing that helps you move up and move forward on our search platform. So what do you need to know? If you have an account manager at Vrbo or you've talked to one of us at Vrbo, you may have heard the big four. And the big four, this is really the premise of how our site works. Quality content, competitive rates, accept and honor bookings, and earn great reviews. And I'll take a little bit of time to talk about each one of those. It really starts with quality content. When a traveler comes to our site, they're going to put in that location, they're going to start searching through a list of properties. And that main photo that you put on there is your storefront. It's if you're a business, people are walking down Main Street looking for something to buy, they're looking at the storefront. You want to make sure your storefront is the most attractive it can be. So your most compelling photo should be your main photo. That's what people will see first. And that's what's going to allow them to click on your property page where they can start to make the booking. 83% of our travelers said, photos are important. I mean, think about it. The picture's worth 1,000 words, and your photos are going to tell the story and show them exactly what they're going to get. And our platform allows for you to have up to 50 photos. We know that properties with 25 or more get booked more, but I would encourage you to list all 50 photos in your photo gallery for each of your listings. And if, a lot of properties, after 25, 30 photos, there's only so many angles you can take of the property and so many things you can show. Then, take some content maybe from your digital guidebook that has your favorite places to eat, drink, shop, experiences, things you can do in the area. Put those photos in your Vrbo listing. And Hostfully has a caption tool that allows you to caption those photos and tell people exactly what they're looking at. And the photo gallery is probably one of the first things that travelers are going to see before they get to any of your other content. And there's a lot of information you can put in that photo caption along with that photo that they may never see or read in your property description. So photos, immensely important. Competitive rates. Many of you probably use dynamic pricing tools, but you don't have to have a dynamic pricing tool to have dynamic pricing. And the key is you just don't want a static rate. When you look around at other properties in your market, you should have different rates for high seasons, low seasons, local events, holidays. All these are opportunities to increase your rate to match the demand that's out there. And you can use your rates, to secure last minute bookings, but you can also raise them up to for high demand areas and take advantage of that. And Vrbo, we're not advocates of lowering your rate to get a booking. There's other ways to get bookings. What we want you to do is raise the quality of your content so you can justify the rate that you feel like you deserve. I mean, it is important to be competitive in the market. And the easiest way, I think, to do that for a lot of people, I know some of you have, hundreds of properties and you need a tool to do that for you automatically. But if you can go in and just look at your market and kind of see, what do I offer? What am I competing against? That's going to be a great way just to give you an idea of where you should be and are you competitive. Accept and honor reservations. As I mentioned earlier, this is a big foundation for the commission model because we don't charge you to be on the site. The only way we can make money is if you get a booking. And so, we want bookings. The acceptance rate, when you have a software like Hostfully, they're syncing your calendar. They're making it easy for you to distribute your inventory to multiple OTAs and your own website. And so there's really, the calendar should be updated. And hopefully there's no reason that you wouldn't want to accept a reservation. Sure, occasionally there may be a guest that's not appropriate for your property. And, if you have to cancel, then the software actually provides you an advantage over platform users in that you have the ability to choose a traveler initiated cancellation. And we don't penalize for traveler initiated cancellations because we can't control what the traveler does. If you feel like you have a situation where you need to take advantage of that, make sure you contact Vrbo's IPM support team and ask them, how do I do this in the software so that I'm not penalized? But accepting reservations, you want to strive for that 100%. You certainly want to keep that cancellation rate below 5%. And if you can do those two things, your listing's well on the way to rising up in search order. Reviews, I don't have to tell you that reviews are a super important part of your listing. 40% of our guests said reviews are more important today than they were even before the pandemic. And I think just people are more cautious about where they're going to go and what they're going to experience. They really want to read and find out and make sure, people are spending more now on travel than they were before the pandemic. And, when you make that investment, you want to make sure it's the right fit. So make sure that that you have a review strategy. And we'll talk a little bit about how reviews work on our site. when someone, the top, if you're looking at this top blue arrow, what that's showing you is that when someone checks out of your property, we're going to send them a request to review your property. And then 11 days later, we're going to send them another one. And then you've got a whole year basically to get that review from that guest if they haven't sent one. And you have two actions. And if you look on the lower right of screen, there's a reviews page. There's an action tab that tells you basically what you have available. And it's either going to be request a review or rate the guest. And then after you have a review, it will tell you could respond to the review if you want. But the main thing is I like to request the review about a week or so after that 11-day period so that the guest has they've gotten our 2 emails. You can personalize yours, send it out there, request that they review the property, let them know how much you enjoyed their stay. And then if that doesn't work, you have the ability then to rate the guest. And once you rate the guest, that opens up that 2-week blind window. So at that point, the guest has to either review your property or they're locked out from being able to do so. So don't rate them first, request the review first, and then rate them. But a lot of properties I talk to, they have a strategy where, once a month or once a quarter at least, somebody will go into this reviews page and look at all the potential actions they can take to get those reviews. Because as you'll see in our Premier Host program, the reviews are a big part of that. And the reason, I think you all know how important they are, but have a strategy for getting them. Amenities and filters. So when a traveler comes onto the site, they have the ability to use, all these tools to kind of narrow that search down, to create their proposal for stay is kind of what I like to think about it. And so you want to take advantage of these tools. And, filters include more than just amenities. So, and Hostfully has built out the ability to feed this information over to Vrbo. So, we'll want to talk about, when you're using your software, if Hostfully has built it out, you want to take advantage of it. If it's something that you offer, you want to check it off and make sure that it's feeding over, because that's a potential search filter for a traveler, something that could either include or eliminate you in that search. So these are just some of the things that you can, I talked about the price tool earlier, rooms and spaces. I think you guys do a great job of feeding over that information, but make sure you're including the bed size. People really want to know, hey, I've got a 3-bedroom property, but I've got kids in one room. They don't need a big bed, but the adults do. House rules. This is something that you can people can search for, and so you want to make sure you have these fully filled out, not just to protect yourself, but to be included in that search. If you're a property that allows events, that's kind of a rarity. So check that off, and you could be in a very small search group. Premier Host, we'll talk about that. Accessibility. These are all things that you can feed over to Vrbo from your Hostfully software that will help you appear in more searches. The average Vrbo guest uses 7 filters per search, and that's on top of the location, the dates of travel, and the amount of guests. That's a lot of filters. And what that does is take hundreds and hundreds of properties for a traveler and narrows it down into a more manageable group that they can kind of go through and evaluate and determine, which one am I going to click on to get more information. And that click is so important, but you can't get clicked on if you're not in that short list. And again, if the software's built it out and you offer it, send it over. So what are some amenities that attract families? This is from a survey we did recently where, families were telling us, kitchens, televisions, high-speed Wi-Fi, parking, pets, these are all important to them. And, if you think about it, families are larger groups. They're probably going to spend more time at that property than, just a couple on vacation that are wanting a hotel room and that's all they need. Kitchens are a big part of it when you have a large group. High-speed internet. Not only do large groups and families get their entertainment off the Wi-Fi, but a lot of families have the ability now, the flexibility of work, where they can take a 2-week trip during the summer work part of the time, and then vacation part of the time. And I think we'll see more and more of those now as work flexibility is increased for a lot of travelers. But they can't do it if they don't have high speed internet to do their work from. Pets are a big part of the family now. I know it's not possible for everyone to include pets, but if you're able to do that, make sure you point it out and include information in your description about it, but definitely check off pets are allowed so that you can show up in that filter. These are the top guest amenity filters overall for Vrbo travelers. And, we know most people are probably looking for a pool. Hot tubs are popular. These are the filters. Hostfully supports all these things. These are typically check boxes that you just check off if you have it. But there's some things on here that people don't always think about. Iron and ironing board. My wife won't go anywhere. She won't go to the beach unless there's an iron and ironing board in the property, because at some point she's going to iron something. And people take it for granted, but if you have it, check it off. Let people know. And then there's things like the outdoor grill. These are inexpensive. If your property can accommodate an outdoor grill, it's worth heading to the big box retailer or Amazon and ordering up a, inexpensive charcoal grill, put it on the property, check it off. Whether anybody uses it or not, doesn't matter. It just allows you to show up in more searches. And so make sure that you're feeding over everything that you offer to Vrbo so that you can appear in those searches. Ranking metrics. So we talked about search is what travelers do. Ranking is what Vrbo does. And the place that really starts is the ranking metrics. And it's probably a good idea to know, what are your ranking metrics, and, what does Vrbo see, and what can you do to maybe improve those? Well, I want to start with our conversion funnel, actually. And basically, this is kind of the traveler experience where, SERP stands for Search Engine Results Page. And so in this example, a property appears in 50,000 searches. And that doesn't mean that they're going to get looked at. It just means they met the criteria for 50,000 searches. And then the PDP stands for the Property Display Page. This is really where all your content is. This is all your photos. This is your policies, your list of amenities, anything like that would allow you to display to the traveler so that they can see what you offer. And then from there, this is where people make the booking. They've got to be on your property display page to make the booking. And so if you got 35 bookings out of that, you're looking at a conversion rate of about almost 0.9%. Doesn't seem like a lot, but the average Vrbo conversion rate is only 0.3%. And so you want to know what your conversion rate is and be thinking about this is a listing level feature. So, if you have 10 properties, how is each property converting, and which ones are doing well and which ones are not? And, what can I learn from the ones that are doing well to help the ones that are not and move them up? And most of you, if you're using Vrbo right now and you've been on our dashboard, under the performance tab, you'll find the ranking metrics, and this is a listing level feature. And this is kind of your scorecard on how that listing is doing. And in this particular example, this property in the last 30 days had almost 29,000 in revenue. That was based on about 13,000 search impressions, which we got 951 property views out of, and then 6 bookings. And I think that 6 bookings converts at actually about 0.6%. So it's the property views to bookings is your conversion rate. And 0.6%, that's double the Vrbo average. So this property is doing pretty well. And if you look below, it kind of tells you probably why. They have a 100% acceptance rate. They have a 0% cancellation rate. Their review score is 5, and they've got 6 reviews. And that's just in the last 30 days. Now, it's probably not from those bookings. Those bookings are probably in the future, and those reviews are probably in the past. But the point is, this property is doing a great job. And so that's why they're making money and getting bookings. And that's just one listing. So this is something I mentioned earlier. There's other ways to get a booking than lowering your price. And, bookings help you move up in search. So you want to get more bookings. That's how you make money. It's kind of all aligned. This is a list of conversion rates from Hostfully property managers on Vrbo based on the different cancellation policies that they've set up for their listings. And cancellation policies are listing level features. So if you have 10 properties in your portfolio, you can have a different cancellation policy for each one, and you can experiment. Maybe you have a property that's doing really well, or for some reason, maybe it's on an island, it's hard to rebook. If somebody cancels at the last minute, well, then you might need a no refund or a very strict cancellation policy there to protect yourself. But where you have the ability to add more flexibility, you will add bookings. The overall conversion rate for a Hostfully property using the relaxed policy, which is like 14 days out, 100% refund, is 0.7. And even a firm policy, which is 60 days out, you get a full refund, is it's almost 0.6. So just even a firm policy is much better than, say, the no refund or even the strict. And you can experiment with these. You're not married to each one of these policies. You can put one in your set it up on a listing, get a couple of bookings, and then you can revert back to something you're more comfortable with. But another key point we found is that just because you made your property more flexible doesn't mean you get more cancellations. It just means more travelers are willing to choose you because they like the idea of flexibility. I mean, Vrbo travelers, generally, they're not wanting to cancel. They've picked a property, it's a special, it's a unique deal, and they're going to follow through unless something comes up. Badging opportunities. So badging opportunities are a way to point out some of the great things you've done. And if you're a new listing on our site, we offer a new listing badge. If you're a premier host and earn that, we offer a badge for that as well. And I'll tell you a little bit how these things work. The new listing badge, if you look on the right on the mobile app, you'll see it right below the main photo and the specs for this particular property. It also shows up if you're on you're on the desktop and you're scrolling through, you'll see it on the search results page. And the new listing badge also includes, it kind of explains why maybe you don't have any reviews yet. And I think that's important, to like, here's a great looking property, but nobody reviewed it. Well, it's new. And and there it is. But it also gives you a boost in search. So when your properties or listings are new to Vrbo, you're going to get a boost in search for the first 90 days or until the first 3 bookings. And then, of course, once you get those bookings, that's going to keep propelling you up forward. Premier Host. So Premier Host is formerly known as the Premier Partner, and I imagine many of you are. I'm going to share just a little bit about the requirements, the benefits, and the scorecard. Premier Host, the first thing that I want to say about Premier Host is it's an account level feature. And what that means is it's based on your overall account, not a specific listing. So the more properties you have, the easier it is to get the bookings and the reviews, but it also means sometimes it's more challenging because you have more properties to maintain that higher review score and the higher acceptance rate and lower cancellation rate. But what we're looking for on this program is 4.3 or higher for your review score, 90% or higher acceptance rate, 5% or lower owner initiated cancellation rate, 3 or more Vrbo reviews, and then either 5 bookings or 60 book nights. So in many markets right now, maybe not many, but several markets right now, I know there's a lot of restrictions on properties can only list a minimum of 30 night stays. So it'd be very challenging to come up with 5 of those bookings maybe to become a Premier Host in a given year. But you don't need 5 bookings if you've got 2 stays at 30 nights each or 1 stay at 60 nights. So there's some flexibility there even for folks with longer term. But I imagine many of you are a Premier Partner, so this is probably a review. The nice thing, you get the nice badge that's going to go on your listing that appears on the search page. So when people are scrolling down, it immediately identifies you as somebody who is Premier. And that's important to travelers. It's also a searchable feature, and so it's a filter. And if I'm a Vrbo user and I'm pretty familiar with that program, I might just come back and search for Premier Host on the in the filters, and just be looking at a list of Premier hosts when I'm making my choice. So you want to have that badge. And if you're a property manager and you're acquiring new properties, you're in a growth mode, you want to get more owners to sign up with you and let you manage their properties, being able to tell them you're a Premier host, and that when their properties are activated in your account, they'll automatically be a Premier host because it's an account level feature. It's a great selling tip for property managers that are looking to grow. And what does that scorecard look like? You can find this on the Vrbo dashboard under performance. And because this is an account level feature, I like to use it as just a quick glance at how is a property manager doing overall, because this is this is the average of everything that you've got in your portfolio. 93 acceptance rate, pretty good. 0 cancellation rate, fantastic. 5.0 review score, fantastic. 21 reviews, that's awesome. 38 bookings, 162 book nights. So it's a quick way to summarize how this property is doing, and keep an eye on making sure that bar is green all the way across, which will keep earning you that Premier Host designation. 3 takeaways. Okay, so this is really kind of what I wanted to wrap up with, and just remind everyone, search and ranking are 2 different things. Search is what the traveler wants, and ranking is really how Vrbo views the way you handle your guests and run your business. You control both of these. The content that you create will help you in your search and sort order, and then the way that you manage the business and deal with your guests and earn those reviews is what's going to help you on the ranking. And both combined are what elevate you and propel you in the sort order. Take advantage of our new listing badge and our Premier Host badging. I mean, the great news is over the course of this year, we'll be rolling out more opportunities, more promotional opportunities that property managers can take advantage of to talk about their properties. Things like strike-through pricing, promotional opportunities, special discounts that are over and above, optional things that you can opt into to use as levers to get more bookings. And then cancellation policies, talking about lever for more bookings, typically we think about lowering the rates or the minimum night stay, and those things can be effective, but the cancellation policy really doesn't cost you anything to try. And so consider, do I have listings where I might be able to add some more flexibility, or do I have listings that need some help? And maybe this is a great way to experiment there. If you don't like it, you switch it back. Again, it's you just turn it on, turn it off. It's that easy. Vrbo product updates. I mentioned earlier that Hostfully is currently piloting the messaging API. Definitely they're an early adopter here, and so we're grateful for that. This is something that property managers have asked us for a long time. So we're very happy that that's going on, and hopefully that will be rolling out soon. The self-serve onboarding tool, this is a tool that we use if you're new to Vrbo, you have a Hostfully account, we can help onboard you with this tool. It speeds up the process. It's not new, but it's been improved over the last 6 months to a year. And I would love to walk anyone through this if they're interested in connecting their Hostfully account to Vrbo. And there's no cost to connect. There's no cost to list. You're only paying for what we send you. So how can you get a hold of me if you want to? Send me a question. Let me know what's going on. My name again is Lee Mays. This is my email, lmays@expediagroup.com. And if you're connected, if you're listing on Vrbo right now using Hostfully, you are what we call an integrated property manager. And that's an awesome group to be in because we have a special support team for you. They're located in Austin, Texas. You're not calling overseas. They have weekend hours, which is pretty cool. Their hours are 8 to 6 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Sunday, you can call them or email them. And I recommend if you have an issue, or even if you don't have an issue, if you're a property manager that doesn't have an account manager, but you'd like to maybe learn more about some of the optimization ideas that we covered today and how you can do better in search, give them a call. They can help you with that. They'll look at your listings and they'll give you some feedback. You can also email them. But if you have an issue that requires some screenshots, for example, what I recommend is email them first. There is an email queue. But email them, and then maybe a day later or a few hours later, give the email a chance to get there. Give them a call and ask them to reference that so that you can get them on the phone, you can talk to them, but you have a way to show them kind of what the situation is and see what we can do to help you out. And with that, I believe we'll open it up to some questions.
Hey, Lee. So we do have a lot of questions in that questions tab. Do you prefer us to pick some out and read them out to you, or you want to go through them yourself? It's totally up to you.
Well, I'll take my chances, Alessandra. I'll let you guys, you and Felipe can shoot me some questions, and I will do my very best.
Okay, Felipe, you want to shoot some questions? You want to join in here? It's up to you.
Yes. I have a good one here. John Moss asked. So I will read what he said. Vrbo told me I can't be a premier host unless I change my cancellation policy to 100% for less than 30 days. What is the deal with that?
So I don't believe there's any, it's my understanding, and John, I can follow up with you directly if you want, but I don't believe there's any requirement to change your policy. I think what they may be asking, maybe they feel like you're going to get more bookings or more activity. Maybe it's a suggestion, but I can't imagine there's a requirement to have that. If there is, then I'm not aware of it, but I will find out, and happy to follow up you directly on that.
Okay. Felipe, you want me to shoot one out? We'll go back and forth here.
Yeah, you can choose one.
I have one from Victoria. She asked, does Vrbo give you an accurate comparison to other area competitors?
So by accurate comparison, for example, one tool that we offer is something called Market Maker. And that is a great way to kind of check your rate against other market players. It'll show the occupancy that you have versus other people in your market. However, that tool right now for software connected partners is not ideal. I don't think it's fully accurate because we haven't built out everything we need to make it work well with software connected partners. So in that situation, I don't know that we have any accurate information to compare with other people in the market. We do have some market insights reports, and you can get those from IPM support or your market manager. And what those reports do is they would say, let's just say, for example, that you're in Austin, Texas, where I live. It will give you information on the average daily rate, the average book nights, all kinds of information. What type of properties are booking? Is it 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3, 4? Give you some percentages there that are going on in the market. But it won't be specific to you. What you would have to do is go in and use that report to look at how am I doing? How are my 2 bedroom properties booking? And compare that to our report to get an idea of where you are. And if you do have questions about that, again, if you have an account manager, these are the type of questions that they would handle. And if you don't have an account manager, that IPM support team will definitely take those questions and come up with an answer. And they can provide those reports as well.
Awesome. Felipe, you have another you want to throw out here?
I have a lot of questions.
I know there's a lot. There are so many.
Let me see something. Oh, there is something here that, well, for me, it's a good question. I'm in Europe, so I'm curious about it. So I have a question from Lawrence Smith. So the question is, Vrbo seems to be focused only on US and US travelers and mainly for agents of multiple properties. We own one iconic Art Deco house for 16 guests in England. Why should I list on VRBO?
Well, one, because it doesn't cost you anything to try it. And I think that's probably the most important thing that I tell my clients and property managers is that, there's no financial barrier. There's, some effort that goes into listing it, whether it's directly on our platform or connecting it through your software like Hostfully. But the other reason is, we do have a team in EMEA that handles Europe, and they're actually located, I believe, in Dublin. But we have properties all over Europe, and sometimes depending on where you are, our marketing will be greater or less. And so Vrbo probably, has a different marketing budget, for Europe than it does for the U.S. The Europe is a huge market for us, and I think there's an awesome opportunity for growth there. And as a matter of fact, that's why we changed the name from VRBO to Vrbo, because no one overseas really knew what VRBO stood for. So somebody got paid a lot of money to change it to Vrbo. And we have properties in Europe, we have properties in Asia, and then we have properties in Latin America. And we are focused on all those areas and want to grow. So the quick answer to your question is, it doesn't cost anything to try it. And it sounds like a 16-room property is a phenomenal experience. How many families are out there wanting to go? This would be the place to list it, because that's something that's going to accommodate a huge group. And if I'm taking my family to Europe, I would much rather stay in your unique 16-room property than have to go and get 16 hotel rooms.
Awesome. We have another question. I do see a lot of questions that have come in about the annual fee that Vrbo used to have. Some are asking if those are still grandfathered in and how they work with the software, if they will still be grandfathered in. Some have a mix where some are grandfathered in and some aren't. So that is a big question I keep seeing in this chat regarding that.
So I will address those. That's a great question. So the annual fee is still, the subscription, we call it, is still alive. And it's generally only available, though, for those that already have one or have one in their portfolio. So if you have, for example, 20 listings in your portfolio, maybe one of them is on a subscription. It's a listing level feature, and you would like to get it on the other one. Well, you should be able to contact your market manager or your or IPM support and ask them for the ability to buy one on another listing. If you don't have any at all, it'll be very difficult. I don't think you could get one. But if you've got one in your portfolio somewhere, you should definitely be able to renew that and expand that out into any others in your portfolio.
So Lee, it's just if you've had it already with one listing.
You would need to have it somewhere in your portfolio.
Okay.
And it may need to be active. I mean, if you've had one before that went inactive and you are not able to renew it for some reason, I think that would be definitely worth a phone call and make the case, hey, I've had this, I'm aware of it. It's not, it's part of an old model, but there's so many people that have them, and we don't want them to go away yet. But for new folks, I don't think they have the ability to get them at this point.
Okay. Felipe, anything for you?
Well, I think you can choose one more. I'm taking a look in all these questions.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Let me pick one here. How does the boost function work? And how effective is it? That's two questions in one.
So the boost function, I believe, is something that for interconnected IPM partners, like probably most of you out there right now, is not fully functional with software yet. It's something that we are working on. It's more of a platform feature, but it will, as I mentioned earlier, new products that are coming out. Vrbo and Expedia are in the process of a big convergence. And what they're doing is we're taking the Vrbo technical platform, the Expedia platform, and we're basically combining them. And so a lot of the products haven't been fully built out because we're waiting for that to happen to do that. Boost is a product that is not going away, and it is effective on the platform. I've used it on my own property, and you earn power-ups, which you use to boost your listing by getting bookings. Everything is designed to get a booking, which helps you move up. You can take those boost points and use them for other bookings down the road. And once it's fully developed, I think you'll be able to use it through your Hostfully software and take advantage of it. But I don't think you can quite yet.
Awesome. What else do we have? We do have a lot. I have another one here. What are the specific top amenities for properties that price at an average 1,000 plus a night? I was going to say 100,000.
So I don't have a list of what those are, but I can tell you you're looking at a very large property or a very exclusive property. And so when people have these luxury properties, and we have a lot of them, and I think they do well on our site because Vrbo tends to attract a lot of older travelers who are more affluent and maybe have more discretionary income. As I said earlier, I don't think Vrbo is the place where you come for a cheap vacation. It's where you come to plan a unique and memorable vacation. And so for that reason, I think luxury properties do really well. What I like to see in luxury properties are all the amenities. I mean, describe the thread count on your sheets. Tell us about the plush towels and some of the creature comforts, I think is the word I'm looking for, that people appreciate when they get a luxury property. If there's anything special that you do, definitely add that in there. But for search wise, I would go in and look for anything that's luxurious. And then another thing that will help you is, if you have a luxury property, use that photo gallery to point out what are the things that luxury audience is going to want to do. They're probably not necessarily going to the brew pub. Maybe they prefer to go to a wine bar or a gallery instead of just some souvenir shopping. Take advantage of those opportunities right there, and then in your description point out the things that you think people should know. If there's a filter in Hostfully, whether you're luxury or not, and you offer it, check it off, and then look for other ways, maybe in the caption tool, to describe things that maybe aren't built out between Vrbo and Hostfully, to talk about, hey, I have, these fine soaps or whatever it may be that you want to let people know about that may not be readily available to check off, because Vrbo hasn't built it out.
Awesome. I think we could probably get to a couple more. So I do see another one here. What is the difference between villa and house? We have a property in Aruba and selected villa for our description. I think that hurts when travelers make a selection filter because most Americans are searching for a quote house.
Yeah, to me, I've had this come up before. To me, it seems subjective, but I know that in different cultures, villa means something, and what I've always, heard is it's more of a kind of a gated area that's maybe a more like a campus of a place to stay. It's enclosed, it's upscale, and it's more than a house. And so if you feel like, that's a turnoff, to me, that seems like that's a real big plus. If I'm going to the islands, staying in a villa on the coast or on the hill overlooking the ocean sounds fantastic. I guess it's possible that some people could maybe see that as maybe over the top, but really, I think your price is going to help you determine, who's going to book that property. House is there's a big difference in my mind between a house and a condo, right? I've got a whole a condo, I'm sharing some walls, a house I'm not. Villa to me just seems like a step above a house. And, if I had a property that I could describe as a villa, I think I would choose that over house. But if you don't like the way, if you feel like that's hurting you, you can always go back and check off house and just put, maybe a really nice home overlooking the ocean or on the beach.
We have another one here from Michael. He says he gets a ton of spam reservation requests from guests offering to pay offline. I ignore all of these, but by not accepting them, is this lowering my conversion and affecting my ranking on the search?
If it's an inquiry, this is a great question. I would respond I would do two things. I would just do a one-word response. No thank. Well, that's 2 words, but maybe 3. No thanks, no thank you. And then in the Vrbo dashboard, there's a place to designate a spam. And you want to check that off because that helps us monitor it and it helps us block that particular address from coming back. And my experience, I don't have data on this, but my experience is when you're newer to Vrbo, you kind of get a few of these up front. And then, when I listed my property several years ago, I got a few of these. And then eventually after marking them spam, they went away. I'm not saying that you can't get them later on, but definitely mark it as spam, and I would respond. Just a one word, no thanks, and let it be.
Okay, I think we have room for one more. This one I think keeps popping up. A question asked by Justin Louise also reposted. How important is it to do the following? Does it impact search rankings materially? 1, updating description/amenities every so often so they know the listing isn't stale. 2, rearranging photos. 3, pricing, weather, rental rate, or all in one rate. And 4, conversion rates.
Okay, so there used to be a function where we would tell people, hey, go update your calendar every day, and that's going to help you rise up. Those activities are no longer required. That serves no real purpose for the traveler. And what's important is if you do have a new feature, a new benefit, something new going on at your property, then definitely you want to make that update. But just for the sake of letting us know that you're active, that's not necessary. The second part of that, could I get the second part of that on conversion rate and
2 was rearranging photos. 3
Okay.
was pricing, whether rental rate or all-in-one rate, and 4, conversion rates.
Okay, so photos. There's no value in rearranging your photos, on a given cadence to generate activity. What the value is you want to make sure that you think about the flow of your photos. So someone's, the most compelling photo is the first one. Once they click on that, they're going to see your whole gallery. And then, how your strategy typically is, I'm going to take them through the property. I'm going to show them some, my top amenities. I'm going to show them the living spaces, the gathering spaces. And then I'm going to go through the bedrooms, the bathrooms, and then, if there's other things like the point of interest photos, put those at the end, I think, and just create a good flow for the traveler instead of, just a disjointed collage of photos. Put some thought into it. And there's no right way to do it, but have some flow or theme to it. On pricing, pricing is huge. But again, I'm not asking you for the lowest rate. I'm asking you for the best rate that meets what you offer. So make it competitive with the market, but we don't want you just to drop the rate. It's people don't choose. I mean, people will look at rate, but that's not really the guiding factor. If your property is priced, extremely high over the rest of the market, then probably you're not going to get what you want. But if you're kind of in the market, a little bit above, a little bit below, you're in good shape. And then conversion rate is big. And conversion rate really is about all the content that you have in your listing so that, people are going to fall in love with that property. And that's really why I think 50 photos is big. That keeps them on your property longer. They're not looking at other properties. They're not scanning around for something different. Compel them to stay on your listing. Give them a bunch of reasons to book it. And then that will help your conversion rate right there.
Awesomely. I think we have run out of time, right, Lee? We're there. We made it.
Somebody's
I know.
knocking on my door here in my conference room, so I'm probably out. But I really appreciate. Thank you guys for inviting me. I really appreciate all the Hostfully property managers that joined us today. Hostfully, I love working with Hostfully and the property managers. You guys are great. We appreciate your preferred partnership connectivity. And if anyone out there has questions, I will take them. Shoot them to my email if we didn't get to your question. If I don't know the answer, I'll find someone that does. And if you need clarification on anything I gave, I'll go get it for you.
Thank you so much, Lee. I appreciate you being here. This was one of our anticipated webinars. So thank you so much for taking the time and being with us today. Don't forget, if you want to know how Hostfully's integration with Vrbo will benefit you, Felipe, throw in that link one more time for everyone in that questions tab. So make sure you click on that link. We're also going to send out an email to everyone after this webinar with all the information, link to recording. We'll give you Lee's email address and everything that you need. And thank you again, everyone, for being here. Thanks, Felipe, Mitch, for all your help, my colleagues, and Lee, you were amazing today. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.